So that made it easy. So I don't know, it couldn't have, it was as easy as it could be under difficult circumstances.
Yeah, in the photo it does look like he settled in pretty easily, standing there next to the car. He looks very at home there.
That's not his car. By the way, that is not his car. Apparently it's my uncle's car, my aunt's husband's car, who was a doctor, who was the first one to come over and sponsored everybody else.
Okay, Norman's the question?
I wanted to know why your father stick to Oberkassel even after the events of the Nazi time.
Why he, what?
Why he stick to Oberkassel?
Why he came back? Why did he come back to Oberkassel? Is that the question? I'm not sure I'm understanding the question.
Yes, why he felt Oberkassel like his home.
Well, because his friends were here. That's why. I think if he didn't have friends, and there were a lot of other people in his, but a lot of other Jewish people in his situation who would never come back. But my father had friends here, and he came back, and he obviously was a forgiving person, or he didn't feel there was really anything to forgive his friends for, because he didn't hold his friends responsible for any of this. So, I don't know if that answers your question. Yeah. I mean, you can ask, if I'm not answering your question, you go ahead and say, you didn't answer my question. That's okay, because it annoys me when people don't answer, politicians. You ask them one question and they answer another question, so.
How is it for you to make the same sort of trip now? Do you also feel a special connection to Germany, to Oberkassel here?
Well, especially today, I do. And I've been here before, and I've seen my father's house before, but I've never been here with a television crew asking me questions. So, yeah, yes, I feel very connected. I have to say that my father's youngest sister is still alive. She just turned 95 years old last month, and my Aunt Margaret. And I have not been in close contact with her, but I did Skype with her. She lives in Israel, and she was so excited about this. She really was. She was very excited, and she went to the Sicilian. What's the name of the gymnasium?
Sicilian, yeah.
Is that still here?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So she's 95 years old, and she seems to be very well. So it was nice to talk to her, and I'm going to give her a full report when I get back. So I think today connected me more to Oberkassel than before. It was just where my father lived, but it didn't have the special connection like today.
Katharina's got a question on that. Mit dem deutschen Tradition. Is coming.
Did your father raise you by using German traditions, or did his former life not influence you?
Well, this is interesting. I want to know about German traditions. This is going to shock all of you, but I grew up with Christmas tree every year. We celebrated Christmas. We celebrated. We had a Christmas tree because Germans had Christmas trees, and maybe I don't know if my father had one when he grew up, but my mother didn't, but my father did. So I was in the supermarket yesterday with Rosemary, remembering he loved borscht. I mean, any kind from any animal he loved. So that's, and I always thought that anytime there was an unusual food that he liked, I figured it must be German. So, like marzipan, he loved marzipan, and so the traditions, he did not wear lederhosen, but he did he wore shorts when no other man wore shorts. My father wore shorts with long socks, I guess like they did here. I was very embarrassed, I have to say. Do you remember that? My friend remembers that. No other man wore shorts but my father. And he whistled, too, a lot. He whistled. I don't know if that's German, but he always whistled. You know what whistling is? Okay. There, that's whistling. But he didn't speak German at home. And even amongst his sisters, I don't remember him speaking German. So, but he,
What was his Christmas like? Was it also exchanging presents,
yes,
singing White
Santa
Christmas?
Claus.
Okay.
I can sing White Christmas in German. No, I can sing Winter Wonderland in German. But you don't want to hear it. Because I studied German for 2 years in high school, but I forget mostly everything. So Christmas was, I believed in Santa Claus. In my house, and my friend Linda can attest to this, my mother baked cookies and put them on the Christmas tree with candy canes and lollipops, and all the neighborhood children came over and after Christmas and helped themselves to the goodies on the tree. Oh yes, okay, German tradition. Pfeffernüsse, Lebkuchen. Okay? I think every Christmas, Pfeffernüsse and Lebkuchen. And my brother, I am not a baker, but my brother, who unfortunately passed away 3-4 years ago, my brother carries on that tradition. Now his sons carry on that and bake Pfeffernüsse and Lebkuchen every year. I do not, but they do. So.
Okay, Nina's got a question. Charakteristika.
Which characteristics of your father were special to you and connecting with him?
I think his sense of humor. He had a very, I don't know, it wasn't sophisticated, but it was clever. He had a very clever sense of humor. And I like to think that I do also. I like to think that's, we have in common. Also, music. My father loved classical music, and I became a classical musician. That was my profession. And he introduced me to all the great classical music. So we had that in common, too.
Okay. Let's move to the subject of what's going to happen this afternoon, the naming of the square.
What is going to happen this afternoon?
Well, you'll just wait and see. But Selena's got a question on that issue.
What does it mean to you that a square has been named after your father?
That's a very good answer.
Well, I'm very proud. I learned a lot about my father. Actually, the people, the organizers, Laura and Marina and Baum and Bernd and Wolfgang, knew a lot more about my family than I knew about my family. And I learned a lot about my father, and especially his years in the gymnasium, from their work. I had no idea. I didn't know about what he wrote when he was a student, and that makes me very proud. And it just makes me proud that he will be part of Düsseldorf and Oberkassel. I'm just sorry. Oh, no. I have one more thing. this whole project, which has been going on I was contacted in 2008, has been bittersweet for me because it's sweet because it's just a wonderful thing that he's being recognized and being remembered. But, okay, hang on. But my father, you can finish it for me. My father and my mother and my brother are not here, so.
Yeah, we all understand that, and we're just going to keep the memory and what he stood for and what he wrote in as a pupil. I think that's remarkable, to stand up for democracy on that specific date and to stand up for equality of men and women. And he's a very, very courageous man. And I think we all learned a lot in the classes when we talked about that, and that will continue. And that's just a very wonderful thing.
I want to say that I didn't know about what he wrote, but it didn't surprise me. It really didn't. Because my father was very outspoken, always, and always stood up for the
Underdog? Stood up for the underdog?
The underdog, yes, the underdog. Thank you. I wasn't expecting that word from you. Der Unterpunkt. Yes. Yes, he always did. So again, I had no idea he had written that, and I thought it was very brave of him, considering everything else that was going on. But it didn't surprise me.
Okay, so anybody who would like to, jeder, der noch ein bisschen mehr darüber lernen möchte, da hinten gibt es diese Bücher zu erstehen, wo man mehr über das Leben von Werner Finks lesen kann. Das haben wir ja die Wink gerade schon, wenn Sie einen Menschen, der davon eins mitnehmen möchte, kann das gerne bei Ihnen käuflich erwerben. Ich würde ganz gerne ein Gruppenfoto machen mit all den Leuten, die an dem ganzen Projekt beteiligt werden. So we'd like to make a group photo of everybody involved in the project, to have it all up here on stage. And then we finish with something that was close to your dad's heart, the Boy Scout movement, and so we finish with one of the Boy Scout songs that we performed after this. Gut, also würde ich gerne Laura Maria, warum ist leider nicht hier, Bernd Müller, Herrn Lorenz, alle mit auf die Bühne bitten, dass wir einmal gemeinsam sehen können, wer die Personen sind, die hinter diesem ganzen Projekt gestanden haben. Den Beamer einmal aus. Thank you very much. Herzlichen Dank to all of you involved in this project, and especially thank you, Ali, for opening a heart up for us and to us, and to answer all these questions. Thank you very much.